And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Copeland's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. This is The Bald Truth. Welcome. Friday, March 5th, 2021, and we are still live.
Still kicking.
750 days until escape. We're still doing okay.
Until the escape happens.
750 days. It's over. Welcome to the show, guys. If you're new to the broadcast, don't know who we are, why we are here. I am the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, the author of The Bald Truth and The Truth About Women's Hair Loss, also the founder of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, and I am a hair loss sufferer from way back. Sadly, I've been dealing with hair loss for well over 33 years now? 33 or 34 years. And I chose to become a consumer advocate for men and women dealing with hair loss because when I was going through the initial throes of my hair loss, when I was doing my research back when Brooklyn was a prairie, so New Yorkers would get that.
Yeah.
There was no one there to help me. What did I find? I found all the ads. Back in the day, it was in the sports papers and the back of like Muscle and Fitness and all these magazines. The infomercials, late night infomercials, and the guys who were hawking stuff in, whatever, the yellow pages. The only thing that's really changed now is that it's been scaled. This is a $4.5 billion a year industry, and 99% of all products and services that claim to stop, treat, or prevent hair loss do nothing. Will not help you. Worst case, the best case scenario, you'll be ripped off. You'll lose a few bucks and some time. Worst case scenario, you will be disfigured and essentially have to somehow deal with life as a man-made freak. Joe went through that. Joe Tillman, my sidekick, live from TBT Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, is the original hair transplant mentor who got screwed up, like so many of young guys do, back in his day and back in his day and today as well. It is a cesspool. I did the UK show earlier today, and we had a young caller called into the broadcast from London, and he found us on Ape to Gentleman, which is great. He called the broadcast, and he had no clue. The stuff that we were telling him, just basic stuff, like he was asking about celebrities and hair transplants, and said that was one of the things that really inspired him when he sees celebrities on his Instagram feed who've had hair transplants. And I expressed to him, I explained that you do know that a lot of these guys, when they go out in public, they're wearing paint. They are using makeup or concealers to help provide a better appearance to their hair transplant. While the hair transplant was fine in most cases, in many cases, it usually isn't as full as it looks on camera, or even if they're being caught outside by the paparazzi.
No. Wait, you're not saying these are staged photos, are you?
No. You said that.
I said that.
Yeah.
But you say that too.
I do. But I am saying that, I'll give you an example. Here's a great example. Who's that guy? That guy, the Skating with the Stars guy? Is he Skating with the Stars?
Dancing with the Stars.
Not Dancing with the Stars.
Jeremy something.
No, it's a guy from the UK who was actually the first guy to come out and have his hair transplant.
Yeah.
It's not Jeremy. He's super famous in the UK. I forgot his name. He did his hair transplant live on The Bald Truth, and it was great. He has a really He has a really good result. However, he did go on a national television show for his reveal, apparently wearing some makeup on his head, and no one really knew. Now, the online community...
Was that the one where the doctor was sitting next to him?
Was he sitting next to him? He may have been. I don't remember.
Was the doctor sitting... I think so.
It's possible.
So.
Well,
and I wrote an article about it years ago.
Well, Joe's always causing problems. But yeah, the guy got a lot of shit for it, but from the community. But to the general public, they had no idea that this guy was wearing makeup on his head. Yeah, he didn't need to because the hair transplant was a good transplant. But, everyone wants to look their best. And when a celebrity has a hair transplant, if it's offered to them, hey, this could actually help to enhance your transplant, use some of these fibers, whatever it is. Once someone tries it, they're like, holy shit, I've got a full fucking head of hair.
Eureka, why wouldn't I go on TV like this?
That's what I do.
It makes me look better.
Yeah. Like I was bald, and now I look like I have a full head of hair because I have this transplant and a little makeup. This is the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it is? The problem is the consumer doesn't realize that that's the case unless they're told. So this poor kid was like, it was like when my mother found out that Burt Reynolds was wearing a toupee.
Jason something, not Jeremy, it's Jason.
Yeah. Because you were thinking that, you missed the joke. It was like when my mother found out that Burt Reynolds was wearing a toupee.
Oh.
She was mortified. Which is unfortunate.
My oldest sister was mortified. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because he still was Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
I was set up for failure from the beginning.
Keep in mind that most of our audience has no idea who Burt Reynolds is.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that, and if they don't, they're looking him up right now.
And I have to say that at the beginning of the monologue, the part that you say every show, if you don't know who we are or what we're doing here, it was screaming inside my head to say, please find out and tell us, because we don't know either.
We have no clue. We've been doing it for 20 years. This fucking wire, man. If you guys saw the rat's nest behind this desk.
go follow Andrew Zarian on Twitter and you'll see.
Jesus Christ. And I'm like
Jason Gardner.
Yeah, and I've got an OCD situation going on, and the wires really fuck me up, but there's nothing I can do about them. And then every once in a while I get a little tangled back here. Anyway,
Jimmy Grove in the chat room reminded me.
Yeah. And I have to say, the guy was very pleased with his transplant. It was a good, I think he had 2 procedures. And he still looks fine. He looks good. The work suited him. And it was life-changing for him. And he was being very candid and honest about his experience. I don't even think he realized that, because when you go on television, you put makeup on anyway. I don't think he even realized it was something that could possibly appear for some people to be misleading.
Right.
I absolutely don't.
I believe that.
No, this guy just he's getting made up. That's it. That's how it works. But man, people got fucked up over that. So I just think it's important that, especially for young guys, to know that you see a guy, a celebrity with a hair transplant, usually if they've had work done, they're enhancing it with some form of makeup. Not all the time.
I think it's a fair statement.
Now, Joe and I are the opposite. Joe has actually had several hair transplants and doesn't wear makeup. I haven't had any, and I got a cotton candy thing happening on the back of my head. So
he's got fuzz.
It's
fuzz in the back.
But you know what? If I choose, I wear Dermatch, but if I choose to wear fibers, I can put enough on to kind of like mold in that flat spot and make it higher. ever tell you once I was out? I was driving. I was in Maryland, and I was in the car. My father was in the car, so he was sitting in the front because he always had to sit in the front. But I understand. And common law was sitting in the back. And when my dad got out of the car, she's like, "You know, it looks like you have a pyramid of topic on your head."
Oh, that didn't fuck up your day, did it?
You know, I said, "Look, I do. What am I going to do?" You know, how many people are going to see me seated underneath a moonroof?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
All right, guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. But that's just part of my life. You know, it's part of my style. It's like, look at our former president's hair. The world made fun of him, but that was his thing.
That was his shtick.
Let's hear this.
For sure.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
First caller, Morty from Brooklyn.
Oh, my. You know what?
Morty!
You know why you're the first caller? Because your caller ID didn't come up until I just pressed that button. What's happening?
Oh, not much. I had a pleasant Hey, what's up, Joe? How's it going? And Spencer, your hair looks good, man. Like the new haircut.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I almost got. I may have gotten COVID from it, but you know it looks good. You have no idea what I went through yesterday. It was. I'm like I had to tell this 75-year-old barber to keep pulling up his mask. I'm like, Lou, what part of you could possibly kill me? Don't you understand?
Oh, Lord. He's 75. He should be vaccinated already, no?
He actually was. He had a second shot, but we still don't know, even though the thought is, and at least the initial, Jesus, my head, everything's going nuts. The initial findings are that those who are vaccinated have much less viral load if they are recontaminated or if they're infected. So the possibility of spreading it should be far less. But we still don't know if that's real or not, or if that's just preliminary data, or people are just afraid to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, you guys are okay. Because if they do put it out there and say this is definitive, less people might get vaccinated. So who knows?
Mm-hmm. The answer is yes to all of those things. How come you're not vaccinated yet?
I was going to say I'm too young. I'm still too young here in California.
See, now I know a lot of tricks that people are saying. Like I told you, they're getting paperwork that says that they have some disease, or they're getting paperwork that says that they work in a bodega, or that they, some other bullshit. The other trick that I just heard this week is what you do is you show up at a vaccination center at like 4:45.
Yeah, and
then basically they're like, okay, we have 3 left because we had cancellations and we need to get rid of the vaccine. Who wants a vaccine?
You can just dumpster dive outside at night when they throw them out.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I do have some concerns about the vaccine. I have some issues that I'm concerned that I don't want them to flare up if I am vaccinated. So I kind of want to wait anyway. So I will wait my turn.
Okay.
And let all the elderly and the infirmed get it first, and count and wait and see how many people drop dead or lose their hair or have their autoimmune diseases flared up or whatever.
There is that. Yeah, it's true.
So
we still have time to see if a third eye has grown in the forehead. So I'm still waiting for that.
It may happen.
Joe. Goodness. Anyway.
What's going on?
I called because I got my report. So I had a nice conversation with Dr. Gary Linkoff, and I wanted to share it with the audience.
Dr. who?
I'm sorry, with who?
Dr. Gary Linkoff.
So you actually went to see the guy?
You went to see him?
Yeah. No. It was Zoom. It wasn't like I didn't do a face-to-face with him. It was on. It was actually on Google Meet.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So it was really nice. He set aside an hour. We had a nice conversation. We talked about the history that I have with you guys and the other people that I've consulted with, including his former mentor. We talked about his approach to what he does, and we talked about if I were to go with him, what he would do. Overall, it was a really pleasant conversation. He's got the soft sell down. I think, as a positive. He definitely doesn't seem like the type of person who would steer you in the wrong direction. And
well,
those
first
are
of all,
you
led with the fact that you're connected. You call the program, you're connected to us in some way, and that I'm pretty sure he knows that you're going to fucking destroy his life if he
does a
fucks
hard
with you.
sell.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah,
yeah. It is interesting, however. Like I had talked to him about the whole try everything before going under the knife, and the fact that I've been quote unquote trying everything for the last 3 years. And this kind of struck him as odd. He basically said, "Well, given the amount of loss that you had, going through all the contortions that you went through, you probably didn't need to do all of that. You probably could have gone to surgery a lot sooner." Which is an interesting.
I don't disagree with everything that you've gone through because you were, significantly bald, and you had some progress with the, drug therapy and all that stuff. I probably wouldn't have gone for like PRP and all the stuff that you did, given your advanced hair loss. But you chose to do that, and you know what? In my mind, it's like, fuck, it's keeping him away from surgery. So, keep this guy busy before he gets cut.
Well, and to be honest,
the reason why I was glad you went through with everything under the sun except for surgery is because you learned so much about the realities of hair transplantation during this process.
That's true.
While you're, you did a lot of work researching and speaking to doctors, and I guarantee you, we talked about this, I think several episodes ago, or maybe I sent you an email about that. I don't remember, but you have a completely different outlook on surgery today than you did 2 years ago, or when you first started calling us up and talking about this.
Yeah, but he's still
100%.
having consultations, and he's potentially thinking about having surgery.
Yeah. No, I get that. But he's a lot wiser because of it.
Yeah. And Spencer, to your point, I mean, look, the one thing that is true is if and when I do go for surgery, I kind of have a different set of expectations about what the outcome is going to be. Yeah. And that's worth its weight in gold. I mean, you go in, I still remember the first consult that I had with Dr. Wesley and how I was upset about how high he drew my hairline. That's not even a question. Just as in comparison, when I was talking to Gary about it, I was drawing it higher than he wanted to put it.
Interesting.
Like I'm talking about, hey, why do we want to go so thick in the front, and it's like, well, because you get that more youthful look. And I said, well, I got pictures of myself from 1997, and my hair wasn't that, my hair at that point wasn't that thick or that low. So, he's like, yeah, well, I can understand why you'd come in, and he was basically grateful that I was an educated consumer, just like, if you remember Cy Sims, an educated consumer is our best customer.
Absolutely.
That's what I try to be here. So that was a good exchange that I had with him there. On the not so good side, but I mean, just to be completely honest, I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and I asked the pointed questions: how many procedures has he done? And he truthfully answered, I believe it's probably truthfully, he did 50 procedures so far.
Right, 50 on his own, or is that 50 including his internship or his pre-ternship with Epstein?
I think that's total. I'm pretty sure that's total because I asked him that as well. He did a whole bunch when he was with, so 50 is a very low number. The other thing, I mean, well, I wouldn't say that it's very low, but it's certainly lower than both of your minimums. And
50 is
like
solid to get a good base and understanding, understand of, some of the issues that could arise during the procedure. And also it's enough cases to see outcomes. So that's positive.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I mean, it sounds like he's got a good understanding, but he doesn't have the seasoning, right? The other thing that was interesting was I asked him, for more before and afters than what he has on his website, because I think he's only got like 3 or 4 there.
Yeah.
And he basically said that that's pretty much all he has to show because other patients didn't want to.
And also Epstein. There's also, because a lot of the cases he probably worked on are Epstein's, and they're not going to tell you this, but Epstein will not. He can't show Epstein's work, even if it was once on his website showing that this was done by Gary. There's a good chance if they separated or parted in a way that wasn't completely amicable, that Epstein won't allow those images on his website.
That makes sense. So that was the second bit. That wasn't obviously such a great thing. And the third thing he also said basically was a lot of the patients that he does want to eventually show are still too many months out before being able to have an end result, which kind of tells me that a large number of patients are are recent.
Right.
Maybe within the last 4 to 5 months. So
look, he's new. He's 35 years old.
Yeah.
He's new to the game. He's only been doing hair transplants for 2 years. I mean, he could absolutely be a part of GHLS and possibly an associate member of the IHS at some point. But that he's new. He's got the right training. He's worked with a guy who knows what he's doing. He's been in the trenches with the right technicians, but he doesn't have enough time on tissue.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that, but he's good. Here's the thing: he's going to have to get that time on tissue, and there's going to be plenty of people who are going to sign on a dotted line to provide him with the ability to get that time on tissue. I just don't know if you want to be one of them, knowing everything that you know at this point. And you know what? It doesn't mean this guy may have great hands, great staff, or the technicians that he uses could be incredible, and you can have a great outcome. But you kind of want to wait to see more results, in my opinion.
I would tend to agree.
Most people, everyone has to start somewhere and at some time.
Yeah,
and it's how they start that matters. And he got a great start with Dr. Epstein, and
he started the right way.
In today's environment, it's not like he's going to have any shortage of patients. Like, he's in New York City, which that's that is his pool of patients to pull from, and it is plentiful. And most people aren't doing the research. And I mean, that's not a slight on him, but what I'm saying is most people wouldn't know that he has only 50 full cases under his belt.
Because they're not going to ask.
What he's got out there, because they're not going to ask. And he'll probably do a fine job for him, and just get more experience. So I have no problem with his current case numbers, because it'll just grow over time. And if he does things right and keeps his head down and really tries to be the best that he can, then he'll be potentially one of the future leaders of the industry. We don't know.
Yeah, and he can be. And a year from now, he could have 150 cases under his belt, and we can look at these cases and be like, holy shit, this guy's got some hands, and he's got a great staff. So,
no, I would agree 100%, guys. And I mean, he's definitely got the right attitude. He's putting out good information on his channel, which is impressive. His focus isn't just hair. He's doing a bunch of other things because he's a facial plastic surgeon, which is another. I wouldn't call it necessarily a red flag, but it's something to consider if you're going to go in and get this type of surgery. Is whether you want to deal with somebody who only does hair, or whether you want to deal with somebody who does hair plus they also do the nose, and they do fillers, and they do these other types of things. But I mean, one thing that's true is he's upfront and honest about that. About what he's doing and how he's doing it, and he seems like he's fairly knowledgeable and all the rest of it. The last bit I want to mention has to do with price. He basically priced himself in a comparable way with the other doctors that I've seen, which, given his level of experience, was a little surprising. But I mean, it's also New York City, so that also has to be taken into account.
I look at pricing as like pricing. If he's getting what he's asking, then he deserves it. Like I don't have I don't have a critique about that. I don't know what his pricing is, but if it's something that's surprising you because you think it's maybe too high based on his experience level, I look at it as, again, people are coming in and they just want their hair, and not knowing, that maybe pricing, should be in line with experience. Who knows? But if he's getting it and he's busy, then, and people are happy, then it's worth it, Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anyway, that's pretty much the end of the report. Just wanted to share it with share with the people online. One last thing that I wanted to mention was I was able to get in touch with Dr. Cole concerning the results of my regeneration cocktail, and I heard not from him, from his assistant that regeneration cocktail. Okay, well, I'm sure.
I like that.
I believe that's what
good.
He's calling it. Yeah. She said that I should be waiting at least another 2 more months before doing anything, and I think that's a reasonable piece of advice, and that's what I'm going to be doing pretty much.
How long has it been since the treatment? 4 or 5 months?
No. 6? November the 10th was the treatment, so we're into November 10th, December, January, February. Yeah, we're into
4 months.
4, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
agree.
figuring another 2 brings us to 6 months. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you guys said. I mean, Joe, you said this actually. I think 2 calls ago. So.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. That's a fair answer. Give it 6 months to see if it's going to do anything. But past then, you pretty much got what you got.
And that's kind of what I figured. And to be honest, I mean, I think I'm pretty settled on Dr. Cole, and if anything, this additional consult kind of made me comfortable with that being the right decision if and when I do go under the knife. Because I mean, you can't do well. I don't know that you can do better than the scientific head of the Global Hair Loss Summit. The pioneer in FUE, and just. Generally fun guy to hang around with on.
Listen, you're going to see Ray Woods, and that guy is still working.
He's really
teaching his son.
He was. My goodness, good for him. Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like sort of like, well, not exactly like Bloxham Feller, but that's a whole different story.
Well, who knows what's going on with that?
All I got, guys.
I do know that Dr. Feller is. I think he's getting a helicopter license. God bless him.
Oh God.
Goodness gracious.
So.
I'm staying away from
that. Guys. Well,
hair loss has been very, very good to him.
I bet. The other interesting thing about Gary was once again he mentioned his tech. We talked about this last week. And this particular tech being the ex-tech of the Ungers, and it is actually both junior and senior.
Yeah.
And that was sort of an interesting.
It seems impressive, but I have to tell you that I'm just being honest. It doesn't mean shit. This tech could be incredible. This tech could be incredible, but just because they're associated with the Ungers does not mean that this person really has the skill set needed to perform state-of-the-art surgery, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Cool.
So, all right. Morty, we're going to take some more calls, man. Listen, have a great weekend. You sound good.
Thank you for calling.
And I appreciate the update on Gary. He sounds like a really good guy,
you do sound
actually.
Good.
And it sounds like, we need younger docs, even if they're green or new.
No question about
we need younger docs who are willing to do it right, and he sounds like he's one of those docs.
I think so. We look with anticipation at his future. So
yeah, all right, man. We'll talk to you. Take care. Bye bye.
See you, Morty.
888-659-3727. Guys in the chat who are trying to get online, we have one line open now. So if you want to call in now, it's free. It's 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
You are.
Oh, great. Oh, guys, I just want to say You guys do an excellent job. You're really looking out for the consumer and very ethical and a bunch of guys. I'm sure you're getting a lot of resistance from the sort of nefarious groups out there.
Really?
Shut you down.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? That's a story of my life. But thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
No
by
idea,
the way?
man.
Yeah, you really have.
Yeah,
you have some
it's,
idea.
Alan.
But go ahead.
Alan from Vancouver, BC. So I'm in Joe's Woods.
Welcome.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah. So
what's going on, man?
Oh, thank you. Well, just a couple of things. Using dutasteride, I notice you guys talk about finasteride all the time, and I was on that for many years. The only problem with finasteride is its half-life is so low. So I switched to dutasteride, and even though the finasteride did slow things down, the dutasteride has stopped it. Now, I realize it's just anecdotal in one person. You need to do a double-blind study, a randomized controlled trial to prove dutasteride is better. But in my case, it's fantastic. So I'm just wondering why you guys don't talk about it that much, or is it because it hasn't been recognized by the FDA, probably?
Well, it's recognized by the FDA for benign prostate hyperplasia. Yeah, and no, that's not why. It's just that it is a type 1 and type 2 5-alpha reductase inhibitor.
Exactly.
It has a longer half-life, and if people do experience adverse side effects, normally the side effects will be lingering longer because the drug stays in your body for a much longer period of time. And really, it's saved as almost as a last resort. A lot of people have done better on dutasteride than finasteride on several levels. One, obviously, the one that you just described, it seemed to lower your DHT levels to the point where it essentially stopped your hair loss. And some people who have actually had adverse side effects from finasteride, who've then gotten on dutasteride, don't experience those adverse side effects. And you would think, well, wait a second. If you're blocking both enzymes, both types, type 1 and type 2, you should have a greater chance of adverse side effects. It really just depends on the person. So, yeah, we talk about finasteride a lot because in our mind and in my brain, that's really your first line of attack if you're going in this direction and we're not doctors.
Oh, I totally agree. And I'm actually in the medical field, so just as a transparent...
what do you do?
I'm a medical doctor. So
okay.
Yeah, so, and again, I know you're not giving medical advice, but yes, absolutely. And the first line is exactly why I went that route, but I just wanted to try this because this seems to be slowing it down even faster for the reasons I mentioned. And yes,
how old are you?
There's been, I'm 62 now, so I've been on a alpha reductase blocker for 15 years. So you're a medical doctor.
That's correct. Okay, so all right, so let's talk about this, Doc. So what do you think about the and obviously just for everyone who's listening, I have no idea if this guy's a doctor or not. He's saying he's a medical doctor, so do not construe any of this as medical advice. However,
absolutely not.
I believe that you're a doctor, and my question is this. What do you think about the mass hysteria and post-finasteride syndrome in general?
The mass hysteria.
The mass hysteria online about the concern.
Not to set up the answer here at all. But what do you think about the mass hysteria?
What do you think about the online concerns that everyone who essentially contacts us? They've gone online, they've read about finasteride, and the first thing they read is the severe, long-lasting adverse side effects, and the side effects that could last even after stopping the drug.
If you get the pharmaceutical compendium out, the CPS, you'll find out that if you were to look through that, you wouldn't take any drug, because the first thing you're going to look at is the side effects of any drug will be there. I mean, you can have almost anything, however, it's the probability. It's all about probability. Extremely, extremely low in most drugs that have been recognized by the FDA that something could end up in a side effect, or in some cases, very serious serious side effects. However, the positive of the drug far outweigh, in my mind, and again, this is not medical advice, I'm just on a talk show chatting, and I don't want to be put on the spot.
Yeah.
You asked me what I did. So, however, the main advantages of these things far outweigh, in my mind, the small potential side effects. So yes, there are sexual side effects on with alpha reductase blockers, obviously, but they're extremely small. They're extremely small, and you got to look at yourself. You got to weigh out: am I willing to take this thing with the positives that I may preserve in this case? My hair, and of course the other one is to have a smaller prostate, which, by the way, has huge advantages at my age.
My age too. I got guys my age are talking about taking 4 pisses a night. So
that's one thing I think is great, and I think about that. I just have you micturate or urinate without any problems, and I just think about the guys my age who are not on it who actually have pain. Anyways, that's a little getting off topic here. Sorry.
It's all right.
But
no.
So that's basically.
Well, what do you think about? And have you read about post-finasteride syndrome? People who stop using the drug and they continue to have severe adverse sexual side effects.
To be honest, I haven't read anything on that, but I could see why things could happen. And again, when you read this report, I'd like to see the studies. That's the other thing. When people say things and you look online, I want to see the studies. Where is the study? Has this been a peer-reviewed study? What kind of study is this? I mean, you can go online and learn anything that is probably not true. So, again, I have no answer for what you're saying.
All right. Well, listen, sorry to put you on the spot, Doc. I was just curious.
Yeah. I don't want to go down that route, and I don't want people to – I just wanted to ask you a question as a consumer.
Poor guy, I could feel him sweating on the air. I'm sorry. It's just the question.
I have a whole lecture on that, but I'd rather I'm just here as a simple little consumer. So,
okay.
And I just want to appreciate. Also, I'm calling to appreciate what you've done. You really are. I think you've saved lives. I really have. People make wrong decisions, and especially when you're a young guy. You're a young guy. You're losing your hair, and you think, oh, it's the end of the world, and you get desperate. And there are entities out there that will take advantage of that. And
100%.
Like you said, fuck them up forever. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
So, and Joe, you went through that. Luckily, you were helped later on by a reputable guy here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So, it's great what you're doing. So that was another reason why I called.
Thank you.
Just to saturate that. And one final thing, Joe, no matter how good a physician is, and Spencer, both of you, the question is to both of you, but more to Joe since he's actually had it done. What do you think about the future? I know you guys we don't like to look future. We just like to look at what's available now. What I'm thinking is, no matter how good someone is, and there's some great guys out there, they're limited by the technology. In other words, the hairline, for example, you're still taking hair from the occipital area. That's coarser hair. We can't put vellus hair in there. That's when the hairline's going to look absolutely undetectable. Until that stage, I don't care if they're single grafts or not, they're still not going to be 100%. Would you disagree on that, or?
Well, I'll give you my answer. You can't. I mean, you can't transplant vellus hair because vellus hair is essentially miniaturized hair. I mean, that's the reality.
Right now. And that technology, who knows, with robotics now, I mean, they've got a robot now that can do an incision of a grape. Did you see that one? That's fantastic. They take the grape skin off, and it's a seamless scar.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the Da Vinci robot, which sadly has allegedly been used by people who've harmed a lot of people. I am not I think robotics should be the future of this field. I just don't think that we are there yet.
Oh no! I'm echoing what you're saying. I'm not saying we're there yet. But like all technology.
Yeah. So as far as
like
the future
goes,
goes,
way, I do know. Burt Reynolds. I actually want to watch Deliverance tonight. Anyways, yeah. So
one of the best films.
Classic.
Yeah. So with that question, so with vellus hairs in the hairline, what Spencer said is absolutely correct. Like, they're already miniaturized, but they can't. Like, I know doctors that have transplanted vellus hairs, like from the nape of the neck.
Yes.
But they don't last. And I actually got into a debate with one doctor that I don't work with, where he saw nothing wrong with it, and I saw everything wrong with it, because his position was, well, we can make it look that natural for at least a little while, and that was I thought that was a really bad way to address the issue, but not to mention the fact that no one that has attempted these vellus hair transplants can show a single result online. Like, this has been talked about. This has been talked about for at least 15 years, maybe 17 years, where fine vellus hairs are chosen to create the ultimate soft hairline. Today, in 2021, 17-ish, 18 years later, not a single clinic, not a single doctor has shown a successful case of transplanting like nape hair into the hairline with any sort of natural result. Just it's not out there.
No.
And it
agree.
Sounds great. They state a great game, but it just doesn't exist. And so in the future, like, what can we do? The best thing that we can do, aside from being able to replicate finer hairs, in the lab somehow, is maybe take multi-hair grafts and create singles out of those, which is done with better clinics that use microscopes today anyway. And most of those are former FUT or still practicing FUT clinics that also offer FUE, like my doctor. Like, they will create singles out of multi-hairs. But that single hair, the hair shaft itself, I don't see how we'll ever be able to get those into a finer state.
Arm hair.
That. Arm hair. But that's
so I just
that's
want
just
to
not
throw that
going
in.
to work either.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to, again, just to add this, there was a study done in Korea a few years ago, and I thought this might work, where they've done a couple of follow-ups on it, not a real long-term study, unfortunately, where they did photo insult to the cells, where they basically use laser or IPL, which is not very successful at removing hairs, but what it is successful at is damaging the follicle. And I know this sounds crazy, but when the hair grows back, it grows back finer. So going from a 70, 80 micron occipital type hair and turning it into a 30 or 40 micron, more of a parietal frontal hair, which is what we have in existence in those areas. That to me seems like it could be a potential.
It's actually a very outside-the-box, interesting way of...
Again, I'm just throwing that out there because that's how technology happens, right? Throwing out crazy stuff. And then
That's not really crazy. That's a good idea.
The flip side of that is knowing how to control the intensity, and also anytime you damage a hair, it doesn't necessarily... it's not necessarily a guarantee that it'll come back finer, as opposed to continuing to grow how it normally grows, but kinked up, where it starts to grow in a corkscrew pattern, and just makes everything worse. So, like, if they could control that, if they could find the right wavelength for the laser.
In the studies. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
They're looking for the wavelength?
They did do that. And so what they did to prevent total ablation, which is normally the case, what you do when you go to these clinics, they changed the intensity and the frequency, the several things, and the wavelength. And they were just experimenting. And they found, they had a little sort of flow chart of what they found successful. So I'm sorry I don't have the studies in front of me here. I'm saying quoting studies.
No.
I should give you, but there's a Korean study a few years ago. You just look up photo or photoepilation of frontal hairlines, and it was 2 studies successful. They started with laser first, a yttrium diode laser, and then they did IPL.
Let me tell you, Doc, if there's a doctor, a hair transplant surgeon who's listening to this right now, I can guarantee this method is going to be on Instagram in a week.
Yeah. Come in for your free laser softening.
Yeah.
Procedure.
It's going to be a whole new, hair transplants you plug in, a natural-looking hair transplant. We have for $7,000, we could hook you up.
Yeah, because density is one thing, but if you're dense with coarse hair, it's not going to look as natural as dense with finer hair. I mean, that's the ultimate that you'd want. So, get the density up and make the hair shaft finer. Anyway, sorry, I said.
Well, your density actually drops if the hairs become finer. Then your perceived density drops. So there's a fine balance there, right? But
so then you got to come up with the technology.
I will add a caveat to what I said before with the finer hairs being transplanted, the vellus hairs. The alternative, like Spencer said, arm hair. I have seen a leg hair transplant successfully performed that softened a pretty rough-looking hairline. It was actually by Dr. Umar, IHRS accepted member down in Redondo Beach, I think.
Yes, Redondo Beach.
He's got one case that I've seen, and I actually met the guy. He's a really nice guy. Lives in L.A. Met him at the Vegas conference, I think. No, in actually San Francisco. I don't know, one of the conferences. But that looked good. That was probably the only case I've ever seen, but it looked good.
Here's the thing about leg hair is that as we get older, and this is something that people don't recognize, most men start to have diminished leg hair, and there were years where doctors would say, well, it's because of wearing socks and stuff like that. Now, hair that's used, especially lower leg hair, will eventually diminish as we get older. I don't know what that phenomenon is. I don't know if it's DHT dependent. But the sad part about men is, and women is, as women get older, they turn into men, and as men get older, they start looking like women. It's a weird phenomenon, man. I'm not looking forward to that, Doc. All right, man. Listen, I appreciate the phone call, and I appreciate the kind words, and I'm really glad that you've done so well on Dutasteride for all these years.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Good job.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling, Doc.
888-659-3727. I
wanted to ask him if he does surgery of any sort.
Doesn't sound like he does. Maybe he does. He could be like a cardiac surgeon,
Yeah, of course. And ask him some hypotheticals about surgery. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Inside baseball there.
Oh, now all the lines are lit, and I don't know what order they're in.
Eeny meeny.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Rhys. How you doing?
Rhys, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, Rhys, what's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. So you guys got me hooked on the show here.
Sorry, man.
3 weeks in a row.
Dude, it's the bane of my existence.
So I got something interesting for you again.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, I started oral Minoxidil.
Right.
And I know that everybody's interested in that right now.
Yes.
So I want to give my experience with it.
It's trending in the hair world right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, I have awesome results. Dutasteride, 15 years. The Rogaine foam, like 20 years, something like that. And of course, the low dose Accutane helping with the oily scalp and all that stuff. So I'm sitting pretty, where I'm at. But like I said last time, the reason why I was considering oral Minoxidil is because of the twice-a-day application of the foam. So I didn't mention it last time because I just started it, and I wanted to see, how I did with it before I, talked about it.
Rhys.
Yes.
No secrets, man. Don't keep stuff from us, okay? Don't keep stuff from us. No secrets. All right. You got to be open.
Man. You know
gotta
what?
share.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I told my wife, I was like, I called in, I've been talking to you guys, and she was laughing, but she was happy, though, because she was like, you only share all that stuff with me, and it's good that you're, getting that off your chest, and,
She's
really,
like, finally,
maybe helping
someone else to
somebody.
take this.
Jesus. And she's probably like, who's it? What is this freak show that he's calling into?
That's hilarious.
God, there's more people that do this?
There's other freaks like my husband out there?
Yeah, that's too funny. So, anyway, started the oral minoxidil, and I started the prescription brand, the name brand, Lonitin. My doctor, who's fantastic, military doctor, he gave me the name brand, and the 2.5 milligrams per day. I know all the studies, and I poured over the studies the past couple weeks, the legit studies, the medical journals and, all that stuff. And the 2.5 to 5 milligrams a day for men was like the sweet spot. So I wanted to start a lower dose because, my body's very sensitive to medicine. And one more thing here to mention, my blood pressure is always low because I'm extremely fit. So not that it's like dangerously low, but it's always, like super awesome low, right? So that concerned me with taking a blood pressure medication because my blood pressure is always a little low. So that's why I wanted to start a lower dose as well. So 7 days, first 7 days, I took the 2.5 milligrams. And my experience, and once again for all your listeners, this is, my personal experience, my body didn't react well at all. And I know there's, talking to the doctor and all the research, the initial side effects, eventually, for most people, wear off and, your body gets adjusted to the drug and all that stuff.
Yeah, usually a lot of the side effects can be transient, for sure.
Yes, true. Yeah. So my body reacted with a lot of water retention.
Yeah.
Even at the 2.5 milligrams. So from head to toe, my face, my abdomen, my legs, like it wasn't like scary pictures that you see online.
No, but it's you see a significant change in your. It's like having going out and drinking for a night and eating a lot of pizza.
Oh yeah, exactly. The bloated, everything's bloated. Yep.
Yeah. The way I lived my life for years. Go ahead.
So everything's bloated, and I got the headache, and it seemed to help when I ate more when I took the pill instead of taking the pill without food. So that seemed to help a little bit with the headache. However, I did have the headache, and I was checking my blood pressure because I was concerned about that because, like I mentioned, my blood pressure is already low. So I started getting, I gained 5 pounds on the scale, which for me, I didn't change anything with my diet or my workout.
Yeah, it's all water.
My weight always stays the same. It was all water weight, exactly. So extremely puffy, and but then I started getting the lightheadedness because my blood pressure was dipping too low because it's already low. So, I got concerned, so I cut the pill in half for the second week to 1.25. So even lower dose, which is like the upper dose for women. So the 1.25 for a week, the same thing was going on. Blood pressure readings were getting too low, way too low. Even at the 1.25, still had the bloat and the headaches, and then I started getting a little bit of the heart palpitations and that sort of thing. And to be honest with you guys, and you know this from talking to me, being on dutasteride for so long and these other drugs, I went into this not even thinking about side effects.
Sure.
Because I knew the side effect risks or whatnot, but I don't concern myself with those things. So these weren't phantom side effects where I'm like so worried about it every day, you know.
Yeah, they were real.
With my job and with my life and, you know, that sort of thing.
Now, Rhys, let me ask you a
So these are
question. Did you consider, like, I mean, I don't know how much water you drink a day, but when you're taking a medication like this, anything that's going to possibly make you retain water, if you drink a lot of water, there's a greater chance of you expelling even the water retention, the extra water that you would normally retain. Did you try that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Spencer. I drink a ton of water every day.
Yeah.
My diet, you know, tons of fruits, vegetables, tons of water. I mean, you can't be any more on point. And
I mean, like
like
a gallon of water or more a day. Did you try that?
Oh, I was drinking a lot. Yeah, I drink a lot. I don't know the exact measurement, but yeah, it's always around there.
Okay.
Water is the only liquid that I drink, and it's nonstop all day. So nothing changed with that, with my diet or my water intake. Nothing changed, and I made sure of that because you know how these things work. And I wanted to make sure that everything was legit and not. I didn't want to change, and you guys know this. I didn't change anything else because usually, you know, a lot of guys change like 2 or 3 things at once, and then they don't know what is working or not working, you know, because they changed a lot of things at once, right?
Right.
So, yeah, this was controlled. This was completely legit side effects.
So
and once again, this is
so this
just
means
my
that shit's not
personal
for you,
experience.
That's it.
Yeah, so what I did was I ended up getting off of it. It's been 2 days now since off of it, and immediately my body sucked back down to normal. All the water is gone. My weight's back to normal after 2 days being off. My headaches are gone, and my blurred vision is restored back to normal. My blood pressure tonight is back to normal. So my little experiment is, for me personally,
no bueno.
It's no bueno for me. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Anyways. So
Well, that's important. I mean,
that.
I think that shows that every body, B-O-D-Y, as I always say, is different. You're a guy who had, you know, some adverse effects, side effects using finasteride, who went on dutasteride, who has no adverse effects, and the only effect was it kept your hair, and you regrew a lot of hair.
Yep.
And then you tried oral minoxidil, which some guys are able to take a full dose, even higher than what's normally, you know, the full blood pressure dose, and they have no water retention. They have no. My New Yorker just came out at me. No water retention. They have no headaches or any of the side effects. It's just the way that it is, man. That's the nature of any medication. Like the doctor who called in before, who didn't want to give medical advice. It was kind of funny.
Right.
He didn't want to call. Who said that? You know, I mean, the guys. You know, he's talking about, you know, all the adverse side effects from any drug, aspirin or whatever. It's just the way that it works.
You guys are exactly right, and this has been your life for how many years, right? Talking about this.
Really?
To each person is different. You're exactly right. Hit the nail on the head.
Dude, I've been in it for 23 years, and I'm about to become an overnight sensation. So. All right.
I thought your comment last time was funny because you said that talking to me on the phone, on a rotary phone, how many years ago made you think it's time for you to hang it up. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Did I say rotary phone? Because it probably was a rotary phone.
I don't know what you said, something like that. But, you know, at our age, that sounds about right.
Oh, my God.
Right?
It wasn't funny to Spencer.
These kids have no idea what a rotary phone is.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Dude, I'm so old. I'm so old.
We
We had the two-piece phone when I was a kid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you guys remember stretching? Did you get the longer cords?
Oh yeah,
on the phone, so you could stretch it into the bathroom and shut the door and talk to your girlfriend in private.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. That's funny.
Dude, we had a phone in the kitchen, and that was it. It had, you know, and if I was on it for too long, my father would get on the phone, and he would fucking give me shit.
Yep.
Didn't matter who I was talking to. Get off the fucking phone, he'd say.
Yeah. So it
All right.
sounds like we had the same upbringing. That's hilarious.
You have no idea. One day I'll talk more about
one
it.
more thing I want to mention. You guys, that I didn't mention the last time when I was talking about the hair transplants that I had, and you guys talking about being cut, and once you're cut, and that sort of thing. Like I said, just to reiterate, you guys know I had an amazing result finally, with everything. However, because I was cut, and the original hair transplant strip scar was so wide, and Dr. Wolf did an amazing job fixing it. However, the scarring, was still there. And then with the FUE, I did have slight thinning in the donor area. And Joe, you talked about this extensively. But anyways, so nowadays, because military, I have to keep my sides and back and my hair short. So I get small, very small SMP strategically placed in my donor area on the back of my head. The
Hold
SMP
on. Joe, can you
in.
make believe you're up at least? That you're
Huh?
awake? Can you make believe you're awake?
What do you mean? I don't get it.
I'm just kidding. I'm giving him shit. It looks like his eyes are falling. His eyes are closing.
He's heard it all before.
I was actually listening intently for a change. I was intently listening to this one.
Put some toothpicks in his eyes.
Sorry, Joe. But
no,
the
it's
SMP
good. It's good.
In my donor area, I have she's a permanent makeup lady. However, she's done a ton of the SMP and donor scars for hair transplant patients. She does an amazing job for me, hitting those lighter spots in my donor area. And the SMP works really well to camouflage, those thin spots in the donor area. So for me personally, I pretty much have tried and done it all as far as the hair stuff is concerned. So at this point,
yeah, sounds like
after well, plus over the years,
dude, you are drugged, plugged, tattooed. You got it all, man.
No doubt about it. And I did the topic hair fibers for a while. I tried RU for a little bit. Shit.
You don't even know if you tried RU. No one knows if they actually tried RU unless they were in the original trial.
Yeah, you don't know what you tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? Talk about side effects. Man, a couple weeks of trying that. Yeah, that was, I don't know what that substance was. You guys are right, if it was legit or not.
Dude,
but,
people are ordering RU58841 in quotes from some anonymous online source.
Yeah.
And they're mixing
Dangerous,
it themselves. Right. I mean, listen, I get it. I understand how desperate people are, and I understand the whole bro science aspect of this. But that I never understood. I could never understand people who would go that far and risk. Hold on, what is this?
It reminds me of this documentary I saw on, completely unrelated to this, but it's a similar type of potential scam, where one of the spices you can get for Indian food, I think it's turmeric. That's really orange or like a really deep orange color.
Yeah, turmeric. Yes.
Yeah, it's expensive. Like it's traded on the spice market, and you can make a lot of money if you're in that business. But the less than scrupulous brokers will use rusted iron shavings, because it looks exactly like turmeric.
Yep.
It's like you don't know what the fuck you're getting. So when people order RU, like, it's the same thing. It could be, like, I don't even know, it's probably some sort of white powder you mix with something, some activator or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It could be flour.
Yeah. We had our moderator, Winston, contacted me years ago. He was like, there's all these group buys happening and all these, what do you think we should do about it? I'm like, group buys? Of what?
Yeah.
I'm like, take that shit off, man. Yeah. That shit's dangerous. Group buys.
Well, for me, that was years ago, and that was, one of those things, like, where you give it a shot, you fall prey to the whatnot. But the thing is you know, you guys, like I said, when we talked the last couple of times, I don't know how you guys keep it up with this, because you know, you're right with all this stuff.
We take finasteride. We don't keep anything up.
Right. Now, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But yeah, that was a good joke. I get it. But hey,
was it really though? Was it really a good joke?
But, yeah, but was it really?
Yeah.
Well, you know why it's a good joke? Because dutasteride, for me, threw my libido through the roof. I told you guys, my libido, you know, for all these years still, because of dutasteride, my hair is outstanding. I had no side effects. And for everybody listening, my testosterone is through the roof, and my libido is through the roof.
Yeah, I've been doing well on this drug for a long time. I sometimes I do feel like I have my cell phone in my pocket because there's like a buzzing happening, but otherwise I'm fucking great, man.
Oh man.
So anyway, Joe, by the way, my recording, Joe, my recording just stopped.
Into you guys.
By the way.
Okay.
Which is a pain in the ass.
Okay.
Damn it. All right, we're still streaming
we got
now.
the YouTube version.
Yeah, but you can't cut it up into podcast. All right, man. Listen, Rhys, thank you for the kind words and the call, and for the information on minoxidil. I think it's important that anyone who starts to test these things out calls the show, provides their experience, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. That's why I was doing. Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. Listen, again, thanks for your service.
Yep. Hey, my
Thanks
pleasure,
for calling,
fellas.
All
and who knows? Maybe I'll call you again sometime.
Have your wife call in. I want to hear from her. That should be something.
that would be funny. She would have some stories for you.
I'd love to hear them.
Yep.
All right, you guys should get drunk. Get drunk one night and give us a call.
You know what?
That'd be good.
You never know.
All right.
You never know.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, bye.
See ya.
Phone number is 888-659-3727, Joe.
Do you see on your board someone calling from area code 704?
No.
Okay. Because
I see
908. A doctor that we work with wanted to call in about oral minoxidil because he prescribes it quite often.
What am I going to do? We're busy.
Good discussion. I know.
I would love to have him on the show.
I keep getting the machine. I'm like, yeah, that's our busy signal. Keep trying.
You know what? I'm so sorry.
Who has a voicemail as a busy signal?
No, he didn't. He just said, okay.
What? He could have said that.
Dude, this whole hookup is put together with spit and tape and gum.
I'm telling you.
You got any idea how old this equipment is? Literally and figuratively. 888-659-3727.
It hasn't been switched out since the Civil War.
Dude. I have no idea, man. No idea. Let's see. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello? Hey, man.
Hello?
You sound like you're calling from your car.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
I can, yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. This is Buddy from Sacramento, California.
Buddy, what's happening, man?
Hey, buddy.
Not a whole lot, dude. I love your guys' show. It's my first time calling in.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
sure.
calling.
How are you listening to us?
Yeah. I'm Spencer. I actually messaged you on Instagram a while back asking you about how my hair transplant looked. You got back to me like 6 months later, but you did get back to me.
I'm sorry, man. Were you the one that I said looked like shit? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I would never do that. So what's happening, buddy?
I had some questions about finasteride, and I started taking generic finasteride. The brand was Dr. Reddy. I started taking that in 2019, about the time I got my first hair transplant. And I recently switched to the Merck brand in October of 2020. And the reason why was because I feel like the drug was working for me, but then after about, I'd say a year, pretty close to a year, maybe a little bit before that on it, I felt like my frontal recession continued behind where I got my transplanted hair. and it just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. So one of my questions was, if you make the switch from generic to brand, would you guys basically reset that 2-year time period of efficacy, in your opinion?
You know, you really have no idea. But go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say it depends on if the generic was working to begin with. If it wasn't, then yeah, you're resetting it because you weren't really getting potentially the right dosage or the right mixture or whatever. But I think that it's fair to say that if you're switching to the name brand, then I think that's a solid place to use as a reference, because you don't know what was going on with the generic. And so now that you got the name brand, you got the standard, you got the standard that everything else is compared to, what may or may not happen, it starts now, or it starts then when you started taking it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does. Thank you. And then also, so I started the finasteride, like I said, in May of 2019. And then about 4 months ago, I started taking dutasteride once a day also. So I kind of screwed myself in the sense of I didn't do one thing at a time. I switched to Merck and started dutasteride, but I got the brand name Avodart dutasteride. I started that in basically October of last year, and I feel like, and then the timing of the year too, I know your hair can shed a lot, like in October, November, just naturally. So I don't know. I feel like I might have, for a while there, my hair looked really shitty, and I'm hoping it was from a shed, and then it's going to get better after that.
Well, how does it feel? How do you feel right now?
I feel like it's getting better right now.
So there you go.
I really.
If you feel like only you know your hair better than anybody. Now, I will tell you that I expressed this to a lot of guys, or to everybody, to a lot of guys, to everyone listening to the show. About 6 months ago, I felt I was losing some ground for the first time in a very long time. So what did I do?
Yeah.
I titrated my medication, and I'm using a little bit more now. I take 5 milligrams. I do intermittent dosing still. I do 5 milligrams twice a week, essentially, or every fourth day. And I noticed that I had a cessation of shedding, and I think that things are kind of back to where they were. No one was going to notice. No one noticed the change that I was seeing. No one noticed the improvement that I'm seeing, you know? But if you think it's improving, it probably is.
Okay.
So exactly. I would be pretty positive about that. I would feel pretty good about that.
And then my last question, I can't seem to find the answer to this anywhere, but I've asked in the chat a couple times, and I can't get a response. But if you start finasteride or dutasteride after a hair transplant, can your transplanted hairs can they go through a quote-unquote finasteride or dutasteride shed?
That's actually a very interesting question, and we're both not physicians. But I would say that any physician who's listening would probably say, I guess it's possible. If your hair is cycling naturally, if you got to the point where your transplanted hair is cycling naturally, which it should be, it's possible that any interruption or any addition to hormonal changes, or in addition to any agent or substance or medication that works for hair loss, could cause you to go through a telogen effluvium. And why would that not affect your transplanted hair? Joe?
I think that if you were, when we look at how the different medications work, I think that if you were to start a regimen of Minoxidil, whether it be topical or oral, I think that you'd have a stronger chance of throwing those transplanted hairs back into a telogen state as compared to finasteride, because with finasteride, the hair is falling out because of DHT sensitivity.
This guy's always got to one-up me. Always. Jesus.
And I could be wrong. Like, it's just my opinion, but I think that it's less likely to happen with the finasteride or for that matter dutasteride approach. More likely to happen with a Minoxidil approach, but because we now know, we've actually known this for quite a while, but you the consumer aren't supposed to know but the clinics know that donor hair isn't necessarily permanent.
Permanent, yeah.
In many cases, for all patients. So, yeah, it could. It could
on the Erminence
trigger. Ixnay on the Erminence. Yeah, it could. It could for that reason, because donor hair isn't necessarily permanent across the board. Like, most of it is on some level, but there are hairs that are interspersed that might not be. And in some patients, a lot of the donor hair is not DHT resistant. So in those cases, I think, yeah, it could, less likely, but it could trigger the issue.
Okay. That's awesome. Are you guys okay with me saying who my doctor was for my transplant? I want to see what you guys think. I know you guys talked about him, but I just want to see what you guys' opinions are on him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. Let me ask you. Hang on. Before you do, let me ask you.
Yeah.
What if we tell you he's the worst person the worst doctor we've ever seen, and should never ever pick up a punch or a scalpel? How would that make you feel?
I feel like a jackass.
Well, no, I guess the question should be: are you happy with your results?
Oh yeah.
Well, then why would you feel like a jackass? That means that you were the one guy. Broken clock is right twice a day, right? You're the one guy that probably got a great procedure from the doctor that we may say is not so great. Yeah. So who is he?
Yeah.
Or she?
Who is it?
It was Dr. Deep.
Oh, yeah.
God.
He puts out a lot of. He puts out a lot of good work.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, you know what?
No, good. Good for
funny,
you.
Though?
Good for you.
One thing I've come to realize, you guys, is like Morty was saying it earlier in the show, and you said it a couple times. The last couple times you called in, it's just like you see you get this vision in your mind about hair transplants. Like you're just gonna have this perfect freaking hairline, and it's gonna be dense and all that, but it's never gonna be perfect. And that's the hardest thing for me right now. Is like sometimes I'll look in the mirror and be like, man, I wish it could get like a little more right here, a little more right here.
It's like marriage, my man. So
yeah, it's tough.
It's there's some good points and there's some bad points, and it's never going to be perfect. That's just the way that it is. That's life in general. But I would say that you found a good doctor. And generally, from what I've seen, he's doing fine work. What's interesting about this cat is he's applied to the IHRS twice, and every time he had to do a follow up, he never followed up. So it wasn't that he was rejected. It was just that the guy never followed through as far as providing cases and shit like that.
Yeah, I was always curious why he never, why he wasn't a part of the IHRS and all that. But,
well, I mean, there could be two reasons. He applied, he never followed through. He applied, he found out what the cost was, and he's too cheap to be credentialed. That could be it.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
maybe not.
But he never followed through. So I can't say anything. I mean, I have a feeling that, at least from the callers and from the work that I've seen online, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, and, I don't remember contacting you back. Like I said, a lot of people contact me through Instagram, and a lot of it's like just, like I have like the most ridiculous small following too on Instagram, but I don't really do much on there. But when I look at it and I kind of forget that people request to contact me who are not following me, or they're following me. I don't know how it works. I'm old. But I go through these things, and most of it's spam, and then I happen to find yours. I found some other guys asking me real questions. So, yeah, so guys who are following me at Spencer Coburn, if you've tried to contact me, you might get a response in 6 months. It's possible.
Just like this lucky guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
And then also my last thing was just, Joe, I want you to, whenever you get a free chance, there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Gregory Gage, and he got a hair transplant. I wanted to see what your thoughts were on his results so far. I just feel like he's one of those guys that, I don't know, unfortunately, I don't think he has the greatest result, but he's like really stoked on it. I don't know. I just want to see if you...
Well, if there's anybody in this world who could destroy somebody's dreams, it's Joe Tillman. And hopes. So,
is he like, let's see, hold on. I just looked on Google and I got a TED talker, a neuroscientist. I don't think it's the same guy. Gregory Gage. Oh, it looks like this kid. Okay.
Yeah, he wanted.
It's hard to see, like in sorry. It's hard to see in these initial images and thumbnails because his hair is kind of flopped down.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at it. I don't want to do a 20-second evaluation.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I love your guys' show, man. I listen to you guys every week.
Well, listen, I'm glad that I'm glad that thank you, by the way, and I'm glad you had a good result and a good experience, and that you're doing well on medication now again. So you sound like you're in a good place.
Yeah, right now I feel like I am. Like the last couple of months, it was kind of worrying me there, but now I feel like I'm getting to a good place. Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Congratulations, man. And thanks for listening.
Good for you.
Take care.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Bye. Bye. All right, Joe. You can make that move now, so Doc can get in.
Okay.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Will it be him? Will it?
Guys, hold on. Waiting for a very VIP, very important caller. Don't ruin it.
That would be VIC. Very important caller.
Oh, well, yeah. Person. Very important person.
There you go. We'll give it another 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's the area code. Ask him if he's on.
Are you on?
All lines are lit, guys. I can give out the phone number because no one can get in. 888-659-3727. So if the caller can hear us, that means he's on hold.
It's hard to say. Because if he's got his phone up to his ear, he can't see my text. So.
Quick draw. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. This is Cebu from the East Bay.
From where?
Hello, Cebu.
The East Bay, California.
Oh, hey, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. First-time caller as well. Finally made it. I've been trying about like five shows in a row now.
Well, welcome, man. I actually, because we've been so busy, I'm considering adding 4 more lines, but I have to get another phone system to do that. But I'm glad you got in.
No,
he's calling now. Oops.
Okay. If this is a special guest, I'm fine with giving up my time.
Dude, I appreciate that, but you just said that you tried for 5 times. You're you're a listener and you're a consumer. We want to hear what you have to say.
All right, I appreciate that.
Sure.
So I'm fairly young. I'm 26, and I started my whole hair loss thing. I don't know, a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it was it was rough. It's really rough, right? Like
you're part of a fraternity that you never wanted to belong to. I get it. I run it.
Yep.
How do you think I feel?
Yep. Yeah. But that's why I want to say, thanks for all the content that you guys put out. And another show that I know you guys have talked about on the show before, the hair loss show, Dr. Russell Knudsen and Vikram Jayaprakash. They're great too. They've been such a huge resource for me.
They do
their show too.
They do a fantastic job. You know what? I love the fact that finally a couple of docs got into the game and crushed it.
Yeah.
No one was able to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone is just selling shit. It's so boring. They have their marketing people put up shit.
A lot have tried.
And these guys figured it out, and it was a simple process. Let's do a whiteboard presentations, and you just answer people's questions.
I love it when they draw the arrows and everything,
Yeah. How easy can it be? That's fucking great. Now everyone else is trying to do it, and they're failing miserably. So good for them.
It comes from them being genuine, and they're like, we're not, man, we'd like to be sponsored by Finasteride, but we're not. Hey, so we're gonna just be honest and upfront with you and genuine, and just like you guys are on your show. And actually,
well,
Joe,
honestly, dude, honestly,
really
if Merck came to me and said they want to give me some money, I'd take it. Okay, so
right, I mean, do it.
So go ahead, man.
But, I got in, because for a while, I had a very weird interaction with my primary care physician, who was the first one to really be like, yeah, you're losing your hair, because I was my hair was shedding, falling all over the place. And then it wasn't until my mom's like, what's going on? And she like lifts up my hair for a second. She's like, whoa, and she's like, something's going on. And I'm like, I didn't realize. Like, I didn't realize because I had been growing my hair out really long.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, yeah, the template receding, something's up. So I went to the physician. He did the same. He lifted my hair up. And he's like, yep, ear balming.
Yeah, we need to give your mother some emotional, some EQ lessons.
Yeah, both people were just like, they're the kind of look, the terror in their eyes. I was like, I don't want to see that. Like, come on.
Yeah, like your mother's supposed to deny it and tell you everything's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't exactly like what my primary care physician was like. He was kind of like, well, you're gonna go bald. Those people you see that are bald. Yeah, you're gonna look like them. And he just said, that's it.
Yeah. Good luck.
It's over. Yeah. Good
just
luck.
Left it. Thanks for coming.
You can pay up front.
Yeah. But then he did say, well, there is stuff you can do, like Rogaine, Minoxidil, or taking finasteride. But he said, I wouldn't recommend finasteride because there are potential side effects and a little risk.
But take this blood pressure medication; it's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
No heart palpitations whatsoever.
These doctors, man. And you know what it is? If there weren't these ambulance chasers out there on television doing these class action lawsuits, I'm telling you, that's why these doctors are terrified to prescribe anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I still do like my primary care physician. He's a great guy for like everything else, but it was just in this one instance, I don't think he was as educated on it, like I was like, can I go talk to a dermatologist? Because
most of them aren't.
Put a recommendation. Yeah, and I think there is that disconnect. So, but anyways, it was after I saw Joe your video on the Try Guys, because for a while I was going crazy. I was like really down in the rabbit hole. I was like, oh man, I don't want to go bald. I don't want to lose all my hair. And I was like, okay, well, I got to do surgery. That's the only option, right? And of course, and then you guys talk about it all the time, but of course I stumbled upon the stupid Reddit and subreddit where there are these guys and they're like, here are the horror stories of finasteride. And I hate that too. I wish I'd never stumbled upon that, because if I'd never stumbled upon that, I wouldn't have been so scared of finasteride and would have been able to get on it earlier.
Right.
And I think some people still are scared by these.
Some. Are you kidding me, man? It's the number one question that we receive. But even
it's
with
become
that,
its own industry of people that are involved in the propagation of the fear mongering
of the post-finasteride syndrome stuff. But I will tell you this: even with all of the information online, the number of patients who are taking even brand name Propecia has more than doubled in the last decade. So it's pretty. Right. It really shows you that even with this information out there, people still will do whatever they can to keep their hair.
Yep.
And in a way, I think companies like Keeps and Hims, well, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. I like the idea that younger men now have the opportunity again to kind of go in that direction, feel a little bit more confident and comfortable going in that direction. The downside is we're dealing with generics, and we never know when those generics are going to be switched on you.
Right.
So go ahead, man. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, no. So I eventually did go back to my primary care physician after and like you're saying that I think what you guys do is a big deal of it too. It's not just the information being out there that combats this anti-finasteride stuff, but it's also like the content, the medium that it's delivered in, right? Like that's why the Hair Loss Show was so cool. YouTube is huge, and especially for us. I'm on the internet all the time, man. I'm watching like Twitch, I'm watching YouTube, and so getting these videos recommended to me, so it was Joe's video on one of the Try Guys guide that I saw. That I was like, oh, yeah, no, man, I don't need a surgery. I don't need a transplant. Like I need to like learn.
I got to see a fucking doctor. That's what I
gotta
got.
see a doctor.
Yeah.
I got to talk to someone who knows what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I ended up calling because I was like, all right, I don't know if my primary care knows a whole lot about it. I need to talk to someone, so I ended up calling like a local hair clinic near me. I was looking for a transplant or something. I just wanted someone to tell me what the fuck's going on, kind of like hey, help me get situated. And it was great because I didn't talk to the surgeon. I forgot what her name was, but she's in California in the East Bay. But I talked to one of her nurses, and he's the one who's like, hey man, you need to get on, like as my surgeon would say, get on finasteride yesterday. It's gonna slow down at glacier pace. Do it. That's all I can. That's like what I can tell you. And he like answered. He was happy to answer any questions about finasteride and stuff. And that's when I like also looked up more on my own. And that's how I found the Hair Loss Show and Dr. Russell Nuts, and they were great. And I was like, okay, yeah, no. So I went back to my primary care physician. I'm like, I'll take finasteride. And he's like, okay, well, he did do something interesting that I haven't seen come up a whole lot. Because he said initially before I knew he was talking about finasteride, he said, well, there's this slight risk of prostate cancer. So I looked into all of that, and I know that's like a whole rabbit hole thing, but I was like, okay, well, maybe on the safe side, yeah, I'll do a blood test. So I did do a blood test, to measure my levels, and then they have this thing where like multiply it by 4 and stuff because I'm on the drug and
TSA,
all.
yeah.
And they just monitor that, and I think that's a good idea. But I don't see that come up a whole lot. But yeah, so like it's totally safe. It's fine. Like I hate it that
Well, you're doing well on it, right?
Yeah. Oh well, so that's kind of why why I've been trying to call on for 5 times. Like it's really hard for me to like monitor my progress or like I haven't been on it for a whole 6 months yet.
It sounds like your mother's doing it for you anyway. So.
Well, no, I just gotta like, it's weird because when I still have a pretty decent hairline and everything, and it's just kind of like it's like until I lift up my hair that people are like, whoa, so no one's really exactly seeing anything. Only me. When I go to the mirror, I lift up my hair, or I'm seeing my hairs fall out, or I'm feeling like, man, I don't like where my hairline looks right now. But the one thing is, like, I bought a microscope, like a tiny USB microscope that you hook up to your phone, and I was just because I look at where my miniature hairs are and everything and stuff. But I don't know. At first, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can definitely see that it's miniaturizing and stuff. But I don't know,
look,
like,
dude, this is what you got to do. So go to one of these SMP people and have a grid tattooed on your head, so that you know exactly how many grafts per square centimeter, hairs per square centimeter are growing or miniaturizing.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke, dude. Do not do that.
He's like on Google looking for local SMP.
Shit, okay.
Artist in my area.
I was like, okay, I'll do it. Dude, do not obsess over this. You're going to notice. You're going to see a change in time.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about every miniaturized hair. I know that we want to, but the first thing you're going to notice is probably a cessation of, you're going to have less hair in your comb, less hair in the shower. You probably, I mean, if that was an issue, if you were seeing more hair on your pillow and stuff like that, that's one of the first signs that it's working for you. And you may just notice that things just stop where they are for like a year.
Okay.
And then you're like, wait a second. This must be working because I haven't gotten any worse. That's a win.
Right.
So, yeah, I would not. I mean, how are you going to measure that shit?
Yeah, that's exactly. I took a few pictures, but I'm like, I don't even know.
This fucking kid was going to get his head tattooed if I told him to get it tattooed.
He was about to do it, too. Yeah.
Jesus.
He's like, Eureka! That's it.
Oh, okay, so I get a grid. Yeah, no, honestly, like, it's because of the first way that I found out that, oh, my hairline's receding. I had no idea it was happening until someone else was like, well, my mom. This is like, yeah, it's
thanks, Mom.
Wrong, and I was like, great. Like, I've been sleeping on this. Like, I just thought, well, hair shed, hair falls out. It's fine.
Well, keep in mind, Sidhu, keep in mind that if other people have to tell you, it can't be that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's not.
If you're not looking in the mirror saying, wait a second, what's going on with me?
A ground-shaking issue.
Yeah, what's going on with me? It's probably not as bad as, it's actually, for some reason, it's heartbreaking to me that your mother would tell you this. But, you know, in a way, I guess she could have helped you to prevent things from getting worse. So in a way, it's it's positive.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. I still would like to have her on the show and talk to her about this, though.
That'd be awesome.
She needs to get dressing down, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
Sure.
This is your kid, for crying out loud. Anyway, she wants the best for you.
Yeah.
Of course.
But right now, I'm also just thinking. Another question I had, just probably the last question, is just I know on the Hair Loss Show they talk a lot about, you know, the combined force of using finasteride and minoxidil, and you know the combined force of minoxidil and derma rolling. How much does minoxidil and like derma rolling help on like where I've kind of receded my hairline, you know, towards the temple points above them, or kind of along the hairline?
This is what I'm going to tell you. Now, I am not a physician, and there are physicians who will disagree, but I've been doing this for a very long time. There's a mantra in this industry where physicians will talk about the synergistic positive effects of using finasteride and minoxidil. In general, and again, doing this myself and being in this field for so long and speaking to far more people and human beings than most doctors have a chance to. Minoxidil is really a Band-Aid. It works in the short term. I always believe that you know, if people want long-term results and not have to be stuck on medications that may not be effective for them after a while, so I always start with finasteride. Again, I'm not a doctor, just my opinion. And if finasteride's not working for them, or it's not working to the degree that they would like it to work, then adding something, topical agent like minoxidil, can benefit, at least in the short term. The problem with that is, as soon as you put that stuff on your head, you're risking a shed. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for that. And if you stop it abruptly, you're going to go through an effluvium as well. I know guys who continue to use it even though they're not even sure if it's doing anything for them because they're afraid to get off of it. So my advice would be to see how well you do on finasteride for a year.
For a year?
Yeah. And if you know, I know you want to jumpstart things and I know you want to see how much you can get right away. But I'm telling you, man, it can end up being an emotional roller coaster that you're going to spend a lot of time and effort to go through. And it can cause a lot of emotional challenges that I'm always surprised that doctors don't discuss. And even though these are great guys, they do I think their broadcast helps a lot of people. I just don't love that advice. And again, that's my opinion as just a layman, but I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know, after all these years. So.
Got it.
Does that make sense to you? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't throw the kitchen sink.
Don't fix it. Right.
No need to throw the kitchen sink at it. See if this does the trick. And then if it does, then all you got to do is take a pill every day. How easy is that?
Yeah. I'm actually on the. I'm taking only like the 1 milligram 3 times a week.
Okay, good.
I started off, you know, like just because I was like, all right, I'll start off small. Again, I kind of get into my own head there though. Like I'm like, well, it's not enough. It's not going to work. You know.
Well, right now you're not having right now you're not having side effects. So
I'm not having any side effects at all.
You know, give it a shot. See if it does. The great thing about doing it that way is that you always have the opportunity to titrate up and see how you do.
Exactly.
So, again, you know, we're not giving medical advice here, but you know what your body is, how your body is reacting. It's always better safe than sorry. And
how long have you been taking it?
I started in November.
Oh, okay.
Well, yep.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Recently, I haven't even reached like 6 months.
Yeah,
yet,
so just wait, man. Do not jump in anything. You're not going to know what the fuck is happening. And getting on minoxidil now, I believe, would be a mistake. It's just my opinion.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, dude. Listen, I appreciate it.
Cool.
Give your mother my best.
Well,
All right.
thank you.
You
Thank
take
you,
care.
guys.
Good luck. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye. You know what freaks me out? Like and this is sad, but it's true. If I told this guy that if he stood on one leg and hopped around for an hour a day, and I know for a fact this helps with your hair loss, it's possible he may have done that.
And he would have the strongest left leg in the area.
Yeah, and that's not, it's not about him as a person. This is how vulnerable we all are as hair loss sufferers.
Yeah, nothing about you, Sidhu. It's just like when we're desperate for our hair, we'll do anything.
Yeah, I did. I rubbed cayenne pepper
he was
on
about
my head.
If you didn't break that on the joke you're playing, he would have hung up and gone straight to Google looking for local S&P clinics. Yeah, can you tattoo a grid on my head?
Well, I got to tell you, I think I was so convincing that I was seeing your face shift a little bit. Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
I'm immediately thinking, okay, do I tell him that if he keeps receding, he'll have this tattooed box on his head that everyone will be able to see, or not?
Is this the right time to contradict Spence? Let's see what this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dave from Brooklyn.
Dave, man, what's happening?
What's going on, guys?
Dave.
Mellifluous Dave from Brooklyn.
Good word.
Gentlemen.
What's happening?
I must say that
How are you?
both of you work so synergistically, and your advice, the greatest thing about your advice is that you are really telling everybody the long game. Don't waste time on minoxidil. Start with the gold standard of finasteride and stretch that out as far as you can go. And then if you have to resort to surgery at some point, you'll have exhausted your drug option, and then of course you can continue using the drug after surgery if you should get to that point. So that is really the gem, that you guys elongate the game. So I really appreciate that.
It is about the long game, and I guess what I can't fully grasp is that I think most physicians who've been in the field for a while understand that too. I just never understood the idea of throwing the kitchen sink at the problem, knowing what we know about how these drugs work. So, but look, what do I know? I'm not a doctor.
But you've been on you guys have been on all 12 cylinders tonight. These callers have been amazing. And the last caller, I give that kid a lot of credit. He's 20 years younger than me, and he had the courage to sort of, confront his doctor's opinion and do his own research. And seems like a very mature young man. So.
He didn't have the courage to confront his mother and say, "Stay out of my life," though. I get it.
I'm just glad that she didn't tell him to get a penis enlargement, for crying out loud.
Well, you know what? This reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, I think it was George who called a long time ago, who said his grandmother was a cosmetologist, and she just flat out told him, "You're losing your hair."
Yeah.
So sometimes maybe the strongest medicine is the shortest route from point A to point B. I took the liberty of going
George called last week for the first time in forever.
Oh, yeah, George. Okay, that's great. And I also took the liberty of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You go.
Oh.
You go.
No.
You're fine.
I was just, I took the liberty of looking up what the doctor mentioned about the IPL reducing the micron, the diameter size of the hairs. It seems that they've been able to do it by 5 to 45% with an average of 25%. So talk about minutia, right?
That's interesting.
Really getting into that ultra fine, no pun intended, aspect of this industry.
I think that we should open up a clinic, a hair transplant refinement clinic, Joe.
Well,
I've already got someone working on it.
Yeah, I just took out the domain as we speak.
Laser hair transplant refinement.com
and .org.
That's good.
All right, Dave. So what's up? What else?
I want that doctor to be able to squeeze in here tonight. So let me get off here real fast. But I just want to remind you guys how grateful we are for all the work you put into all these shows. and all the technical work, and it's just beyond appreciated. That's all I can tell you.
Well, tell that to Victoria. You don't know who she is.
No.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Thanks,
It's okay.
Dave. Dave, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a great
It
week.
is
Thank you,
appreciated,
gentlemen.
for sure. Thanks
Take
for calling.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
I'm going to have to download that bit and play that on the air. I can record that. That was fucking great. Tell that to Vicky.
It's good. Tell it to Vicky.
Really hates us for some
The
reason.
Vixter.
Is this guy going to try to call in or no?
No. I told him we try to plan it better instead of having him continue to take pot shots in the dark, hoping he gets through. He's a busy man. He's a doctor. Come on.
What's he listening to the show for then?
Well, he was actually trying to call me because we got stuff to talk about. I'm like, Doc, I'm doing the show. Come on, it's Friday. He goes,
Friday.
Oh yeah, sorry, forgot.
Out loud.
And that's when Rhys was on the phone talking about his oral minoxidil, or among other things. And I'm like, hey, you deal with this all the time. We're talking about this. Guys called in. Why don't you call in behind him? Okay. Of course, it didn't work out. So we'll plan it.
Wrong Lane LaRue. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello. It's me, Connor, 19 Oklahoma from last week.
Connor, what's happening, man?
Hello, Connor.
Okay, so, yo, what's up? What's up, Joe? What's up, Spencer? How y'all doing?
You know what? I'm all right. I'm a little hungry, but I'm doing all right.
Complain. A little warm in here.
So
yeah.
I'm just gonna like talk about like all the people that are out there that are like experiencing some sort of hair loss. Is just never go to your mom or friends or just bias YouTube videos, because I made that same mistake when it happened. And pretty much when I was doing that, like when I was first losing my hair, the thing that I would use when I started noticing that it was starting to go a little bit in the front, I would like search a video of like, or up on Google how to regrow some hair. Like I didn't search up anything about male pyramids. I just searched up how to regrow hair, and pretty much the things like biotin and egg yolk, onion juice. And unfortunately,
Were you rubbing onions on your head too? Were you one of those kids?
Yes, I was rubbing onion juice on my head for 1 month.
Holy mother of God! Still
popular around town.
It's like, what year was this? 2020.
It was 2020 in quarantine of June.
2020, guys rubbing fucking onion juice on his head. Now you're not alone. There are thousands of guys doing that right now as we speak. They got a do-rag on. They're sleeping with onion juice on their head.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It is.
So I would say
what it makes us do is crazy, for sure.
Oh man, I got so vulnerable and desperate that I even just like changed the temperature of my shower water. Like it was literally like messing with my head.
I took the cold showers. I got the shower filter. I got all the shit that I read about, and this wasn't even online. This is before the internet really existed the way in which it does today. I was ordering videotapes from this dude in Canada who basically said he could hypnotize you into growing his hair, into growing your hair.
Oh man.
That was me.
I went that route. Me too. I went that route.
Really?
Now I was able to levitate, but I could not grow hair.
Yeah. Oh really? Nice. But yeah, like,
so
I would say like
and you've probably got like in the moment you type that in, and every time since then, every time you're surfing random web pages about completely unrelated subject matter, you're getting hammered with ads for hair loss, aren't you?
I was getting Keith ads every time.
Yeah.
Like around that period of time.
I want to know why I get ads for silver singles, though. That's what's bugging me. How the fuck do they know?
Silver singles.
Well,
They know everything, man.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I even went to the route where I was listening to subliminal music, and I was like looking at my hairline every day, hoping that the new baby hair is growing to stronger hairs. And I think I actually was starting to go mental.
Well, I'm gonna go one step further. I do a hair loss show. Okay,
Yeah.
you talk about going mental. This was at a time when you actually had to have a radio show or somehow become a broadcaster. I couldn't just flip on a camera or go on the internet or do a podcast. I actually had to figure out a way to get my ass on the air to do a radio show on hair loss. That's how obsessed I was. So I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you're obsessed. There's a difference between obsession and knowing a lot about a certain thing.
Oh, I agree with that, but I beg to differ as far as the obsession is concerned. It fucking ruled my life, man.
Yeah.
That's why I
feel
understand.
like
That's why I understand.
Yeah. I feel like once someone like takes proven treatments with hair loss, they're less obsessed now because they're knowing it's working.
It's a different type of obsession, you know. I mean, obviously you're less panicked, and you kind of know that okay, this has worked so far, and there are treatment options out there, and you know when you can have the opportunity to step back like I did, and look at the entire landscape and realize, holy shit, everyone who's in this industry for the most part is trying to con you out of your money. And sadly, there are doctors who are willing to disfigure you for a few $1,000s. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll cut your head open. You're 20 years old.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever. I was able to step back and I was able to look at things objectively. So yeah, that's valuable.
Yeah. Like when I saw that video of Joe's like 9 hair transplant, when I saw his old grafts, I was just like, yikes. Like I'm glad he recovered.
Oh my God!
Well, your first thought was, what kind of idiot would have 9 hair transplants? Who's now had 10, and then you saw those grafts and are like, wow, that's bad. 2. So,
you know what I love about Joe's haters is that these guys come online. You're like, they poke. You're not a hater. I'm saying, but what I love about Joe's haters is that they come online and they're like, this boob had 9 hair transplants, and look how shitty he looks. I'm thinking,
yeah.
First of all, in the real world, no one would even know that this guy had a hair transplant. I've met him in person, and this is what I do, and it's insane how good his hair looks. And
it does.
The fact that anyone would say that his hairline is unnatural or too high or this and that, I mean, I just hope that people who read this stuff can read between the lines and understand that these are probably people in the industry who really don't want to see Joe do what he does.
Oh, a lot of people don't want to see what I do. See me do what I do.
I talked about it last week on the show. 20 years ago, the IHS just turned 20. Doctor, his name is Matt Levitt. Turned around allegedly to Brad Wolf at a meeting and said, "Your boy Coburn is finished." Finished.
Damn you, Coburn.
And had our major sponsors on the radio pull out of their sponsorship. That's how difficult it was for these guys to deal with the reality that I was willing to go out there and tell the truth. Now, obviously, that's
short months ago. He's paying to be a part of GHL or to watch GHLS.
Absolutely. Now, again, I don't know that.
Great full circle.
I want to make it clear that this is what I was told by a physician, and then a week later, the sponsors did pull. So I don't know if this doctor had anything to do with it, but according to this physician, he told him that. So I'm assuming that's probably the case, and I understand why, because I was at the time. I mean, you guys didn't hear these shows, and maybe what I'll do is I'll put up archives of like 1998 shows. I was just going full frontal. You know, I was out there. I was doing the full Monty for these guys. I was putting on because we were on the radio, we had rights to a library of music. So I was putting on the Godfather music and calling this guy allegedly the Don of the hair loss mafia and shit like that. So I can kind of understand why he wanted to see me disappear. I don't know why I just went on that tangent, but I guess the point is you were making comments about Joe's experience. I just find it funny that like a guy like you can see him and recognize that this is a legit guy, and then there's all these guys out there that just want to fucking destroy his rep online.
Wait, who me that can recognize the legit guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, you.
Yeah, because he went full 9 transplants. He makes sure he tells people that propecia is not as scary as you think it is, and he just gives out side effects as well. But
yeah.
Joe's open-minded pretty much.
Well, Joe has changed a lot of lives. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment. I will say I'm not as open-minded as I used to be. I'm actually pretty closed-minded only because I know what works and what doesn't work. And most of what I hear about on a daily basis that's supposed to work, that's new, doesn't work. And I know it doesn't work just because it's no different than what was presented 5 years previously. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I gotta contradict you on there. I'm not that open-minded when it comes to this industry. I'm open-minded about a lot of other things, but not about this industry. Because
the
I know too
the
much.
swinging thing's still on the table.
Yeah.
Swinging thing, you know what? Hey,
You're
since I met you,
you're still good with that.
It's always on the table, man.
Look, listen. I'm so open-minded that there may be a day you can see me bopping around the internet with a laser helmet on, and then you'll know I sold out.
That too.
Yeah, I tried laser. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like there would be times where mom would ask my parents like what are treatments that work, which is a bad idea, and they would say this, and they'll be like, does it work? And they're like, yeah, it does. And then I would like layer go tube, and then there would be videos of it not working, and I would be like,
of course,
I guess it doesn't.
Look here, and I'm going to repeat this for people who are just tuning in.
Yeah.
Most products and services that you see advertised online or anywhere else that claim to treat or prevent hair loss do not work. If there's a celebrity attached to a product that has not been on the cover of Time magazine and has not made international news for curing hair loss, it will not help you. Period. That's just the way that it is. If there was a cure for hair loss besides the medications that we have and the treatments that we have, if there are really these innocuous nutraceuticals that will change your life in the manner in which they claim to be able to, they would be on every. They wouldn't have to take out, Facebook ads and pimp themselves out on Instagram. The world would know about it. It's like when Viagra came out; they didn't have to spend any money on advertising. They do now, 20 years later, because they have competition. But back then, it's like there's a pill that can give you an erection. The world went nuts.
They really did.
You know, they didn't have to advertise anywhere. It was the fastest, biggest selling drug in the history of drugs.
Yeah.
No advertising.
And yeah. So crap. What were they gonna say? Crap. I forgot.
I don't know. Crap.
Okay.
Well, listen.
Remember
Go ahead.
Remember that other guy that probably seemed like that was in the call that was like around the same age as me, and then you like mentioned about him like walking on one leg and him thinking that it would regrow his hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be back then.
That was you.
Summer of 2020.
Yeah.
That would have been.
That was me too. That was me. I
Spencer
really
used to hang upside down.
I actually purchased gravity boots. I had a chinning bar in my apartment in New York, and I bought these. At the time, they were expensive. You couldn't buy any shit online, so you had to go to a fucking store to get them. And I bought these gravity boots, and I would take niacin capsules so I would get a flushing sensation, and I would rub cayenne pepper on my head, and I would hang upside down. That's a true story.
Man, it gets everyone.
Yeah, I'll tell you though. I got some really great. I got some strong abs and some hip flexors from that shit though, for real.
Yeah. So it did something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My girlfriend walked out on me that one night. when she found me like that. But
it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I didn't like her much anyway.
So yeah.
All right, man. Well,
I would
listen.
say-
Good luck. We're going to take another phone call before we go. But listen, we're here every Friday. You can call us. If you have any more questions, you just want to vent and talk about your situation. Obviously, I'm glad that you found us and that you're at a point now where you realize most of what you see online is bullshit when it comes to hair loss.
Well, yeah, it is. It's so tiring to see. I actually, when I see people talk about like, oh, I'm gonna make my hair thicker from these oils, it would be in public. I have the urge to stand up and tell them that it doesn't work.
Dude, do you know? Let me tell you something. You kids are on TikTok. I just started to do some TikToking, which is ridiculous that I'm doing this, but I'm doing it because I went on there and I'm looking at the shit that's on there. It is a minefield of insanity when it comes to hair transplantation and hair loss. I saw this woman, very attractive younger physician, who apparently got a robot and pimping out, in my view, a procedure that she just performed on a woman who, to my visual knowledge, if that makes sense, had no androgenetic alopecia, just wanted her hairline lowered. Ended up doing FUE in the back instead of doing a strip on a woman, which is probably not the best route. But this is a person that did not need a hair transplant and just wanted this for a cosmetic, just to lower her natural hairline. And this person is promoting this like this is just a walk in the park. Like, we have this great robot that removes these grafts, and look at this result. And you see the woman post-surgery, this young girl, and her hairline is lowered by about 2.5 inches. I'm like, oh, my God. She has no idea what she's in for. And I see all these comments of these young girls saying, that's what I need. How much does it cost? This and that. I'm just like, I got to go on fucking TikTok. It never ends.
Mm-hmm. Like, was it that one woman on one of you guys' videos where her hairline looks like, a little bit unnatural? Am I thinking of someone else?
No, that wasn't her, but a little bit unnatural. What this woman was left with that came on the program was, it was bad. It was bad. I think she's okay now.
Which
right?
one?
I don't even mention her name. We can't mention her name. Okay, dude?
Oh, the one that we interviewed
a
couple years. Oh yeah, yeah. she's looking great, actually.
Yeah,
you should look her up on Instagram. It's like you'd never know.
Saved her life.
She was lucky.
It looked like she had a toothbrush in the front, all around her hairline.
Yeah,
it was bad. So that's the reality of it. I did make a couple of comments on TikTok with some young girls who were considering transplants, and they were very grateful. But it's like, it's a constant beating of the same fucking drum, and the bigger the industry becomes, the more interested that people become in getting surgery or buying products or services because of social media, the more bad players enter the field.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you found this, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I found you guys, because I'd probably be a Norwood 3A right now if I went national at Transplant.
Well, I'm glad you found this too, and we'll be here next week, so if you want to give us a call, feel free.
Yeah, sure, man.
All right, dude. Take care.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling.
care.
Have a good one.
Losing my voice. Take it easy.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
I got to repeat this. Do not get the tattoo grid on your head. Want to take one last call?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, last call, guys. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll take one more call if we get the likes up to over 50.
Oh, yeah. We're kind of low today. Only 30?
Yeah, so guys, get the likes over 50. We'll take another call after this. Hey, man, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Josh from Dallas.
Josh, what's happening?
Hello, Josh.
Hey, how you guys? Hey, how you doing?
Well, I'm all right.
I'm glad to
Pretty good.
I was waiting. Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So I have a question for you guys. So throughout the years, I've been experiencing hair loss, and I was skeptical about taking the medicine, and I finally decided to take it. medications such as finasteride. I tried Minoxidil. Minoxidil was pretty effective at first. Anyways, I'm going to try not to take up too much of your time, but the question is in regards to the medication. And I was on it. I was on dutasteride, and I was able to stabilize my hair loss. Even then, even though I did not know that that was the case, I was taking it. I was expecting incredible regrowth. You know how you see the ads, and I guess I had my hopes, or my expectations were too high. Anyways, it wasn't until most recently in October that I was I believe, I don't know if I can attribute this directly to the medicine, or I believe it was a combination of things, because prior to this, I had been taking the medicine for approximately 2 years. I'm talking about dutasteride.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like around October, I was having some sexual side effects, such as erection problems.
Okay.
Just be straight up with you.
Okay.
Erection problems, and I would have difficulty keeping an erection, and or if I would have one, and then let's say within a certain amount of time it would just go away, right? And so I believe, during that time I was working a lot. I was working 60, 70 hours a week, and I was probably sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. I wasn't really sure, maybe it's not the medicine, but then of course I was looking into it, reading up, and what it's known for, right? What scares everybody away was that. So I decided, dutasteride stays in your system for some time. Let's see if it makes a difference. And so I was just kind of monitoring myself, and over time I feel like either it was because I was sleeping a lot better, my issue improved when it comes to my sexual.
So let me ask you this:
function.
so you stayed on the drug,
Mm-hmm.
and your issue just improved over time.
So I'm sorry, I discontinued around that time, but then I also improved other things in my life, such as my sleeping habits and things like that.
Okay.
I had stopped. I took a break for about 5 months, right, and which is a very long time. And looking back, as of right now, hindsight 2020, I realized that I made a mistake, because in the past month I experienced a significant amount of hair loss or hair shedding, and to the point where I realized it's like a light switch, like holy shit, that medicine was working, was keeping my hair. And prior to the end of the 5th month, I didn't really notice anything. I didn't notice any hair loss or any shedding, nothing. So I thought, maybe the medicine didn't really do anything. But in the last month, it hit me very, very hard. And so now I'm at a point where I started back up again. I realized I made a huge mistake by stopping the medicine. I have diffuse thinning all over my hair, so that's how I was able to tell, and it's significantly thinner. I restarted. So my question for you is, now knowing that I made a mistake and that the medicine was having an impact, even if it was maintaining what I had, and possibly over time it could improve, but I restarted it. Is it possible to recover any lost ground, anything that I had lost over this 1 month? Or obviously I haven't been taking it for about 5 months, but
Sure.
Is it possible to possibly recover to where it was when I was taking it?
Well, first of all, I want to make it clear that Joe Tillman is an expert when it comes to erections, so he could probably help you out there. And take
but
that
not your erections.
Take that
so
for what it's worth.
So one other thing. Speaking of erections, another thing I thought about, which could have been common sense, and I don't know. I mean, I thought about, man, I should have just taken or gotten a subscription for Viagra or Cialis, Tadalafil, or what's the other one?
Those are all possibilities, and it's also a possibility that you could have always titrated your dosage of dutasteride as well to see if you
lowering it as well.
But now we're here. So
unfortunately.
Well, it sucks, but based on my experience with callers for years who've gone through this, if you have done well in the past with the drug, there's a good possibility that it will essentially get you back to your baseline. It's not guaranteed, but it's very possible. And you just need to monitor your side effects. And as long as you're doing well with it, in a year from now, you may be back to where you were or less. You know, it really depends. Joe, what about what do you think?
No, I agree, and I think that the best way to give this a shot is to ease yourself back in. Maybe I'm not a doctor, but this has worked for a lot of people that I've talked to over the years. If you're going to do, well, I don't know about dutasteride. I mean, you could do the same thing with dutasteride, but start with just one pill a week for a month to see how that works out for you. See if you start to notice anything, like are side effects kicking in. If not, then the next month you can bump it up to twice a week, maybe Mondays and Thursdays.
He's already started
and just keep.
I think it's a good suggestion. Okay. But you know what? We keep saying we're not a doctor. I'm going to go to online medical school in Malta so I can come on here and say, you know what? I am a doctor.
I'm thinking about Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix University.
Phoenix University.
That's local. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's how you avoid
online. The original.
Dude, just become a chiropractor. You could say you're a doctor. Not a medical doctor. Because it could be Dr. Tillman. You can have your white coat.
That's right.
I was going to say something else, but there's too many of those that are working.
Yeah,
I could feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like the side effects, I mean, they were manageable, honestly, and I feel like that was a combination of everything, because prior to that, I had been taking it for 2 years, and I didn't really have any, like, significant issues or any noticeable issues, and I feel like maybe my sleep schedule, lack of sleep, because that's also
Do you drink?
a contributor is, no, I don't. I don't, but if I do,
well, you should.
I know that it does affect it.
I'm just kidding.
I know that
it helps you deal with the hair loss better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, you know, it's funny about booze. That was never, when I was younger, it's like I could drink all night. No issues. Shit changes as you get older, man, you know, and that will destroy you in that department if you drink too much.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I mean, I wouldn't know from personal experience, of course. But
of course.
Just kidding. Of course. Joe's the erection expert. But dude, I would say that I'm glad that you had the opportunity to contact us, and that Joe, stop laughing. And I do think that there's a strong possibility that you can get back to baseline. It sucks that you went through this. I understand why you would stop the drug. It makes sense. Most people kind of like, you're in a situation like that, it's almost like a panic.
Yeah.
But I believe it's recoverable.
Honestly, I really hope so. I've been trying to be patient, and I have experienced some settings, and where I guess it's termed intelligent effluvium from different things, such as Minoxidil in the past, like to the point where like I'm like a Norwood 6, Norwood 7, like that degree. Yeah. And I've come back from it before. I just don't know. I really hope that that's the case for this situation, because, you know, knowing what I know, I believe in the medication now, and it's obvious that I experienced it myself. The side effects were manageable. I just I need to exercise more. I need to take care of my health outside of the medication, such as sleep and everything like that. Do everything else. Avoid everything else that also contributes to sexual dysfunction, and that way at least I can have the best.
Are you married?
To cope with it. No, but I have a girlfriend.
All right. How old is she?
She's 21.
Oh, good for you. How old are you?
I'm 30.
All right. Well, I was going to say, you know, you can always change, you know, could always swap them out and see if that works. But I mean, you're probably doing pretty well with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Well, good for you, man. Good for you. And I'm glad that I have a feeling that you're going to be fine. In 6 months, you're going to call the show and say that it worked.
I really hope so, and that's what I plan to do. I know that throughout this time, I've been a listener for a little while, and I've been taking a break, and just, you know, of course, I'm sure you would love to have another viewer, but at the same time, it's like some other callers have said, it eases the mind, the panic once you're on medication, and it's somewhat working for you. It's not.
Well, I hope you can get to the point where you don't have to watch the show anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no good way to respond to that, but I love watching you guys.
Well,
I really appreciate what you do.
Look, dude, I honestly kind of wish I didn't have to do this anymore. I'm fucking tired. All right, man. You take care. Good luck, all right?
I'm hungry.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thanks
Take
for
care.
your,
Good luck, man.
for your help. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Look, we will take another call if it's over 50, and otherwise we're not going to.
No, we won't. I gotta go. It's all my fault. I gotta go though. I gotta call that doc.
Joe's gotta go.
But it was a great show.
You know, hair loss never sleeps, yo.
It doesn't.
That's why I could still say I am the hardest working guy in hair loss. There's nobody that could outwork me in this industry.
I would say that's true. I know all the players, and you're the biggest player. Wait, that didn't sound right. You're the hardest working player. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does. All right, let's go at the website.
It does.
I got to unplug the phone. Sorry, guys, who are holding on. Joe's got to go, so I can't take your call. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
The website's hairtransplantmentor.com. hairtransplantmentor.com for everything Joe Tillman.
There you go.
If you want to check out the show on YouTube, check out Joe Tillman's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com. Jesus. youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Ring the bell and subscribe. First subscribe, then ring the bell so that you are notified when we are live and when Joe uploads a new video. Right?
Exactly. But make sure, but also nowadays when you click the bell, there's a little sub menu that pops up. And you want all notifications. So then you know when we're live. And you know when a new video is uploaded.
Everything is such a pain in the ass now. The fact that I have to go on TikTok and do TikToking to save people from the craziness that's going on there.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about giving away all your information to the Chinese military?
Yeah, I don't really mind. They have it anyway.
No, good point. Yeah.
You know,
probably.
What am I really giving them?
I want to go on TikTok now just to see the hair transplant shuffle dancers.
Dude,
it's a thing.
What's going on TikTok is insane. So like me on TikTok,
I see a lot of
at
it
the
on,
Ball of Truth.
On Instagram, when I scroll through the reels, most of them are TikTok reels, which is funny.
All I can tell you is we are living in the craziest world. I could never. I'm not talking about like the way my parents felt in the '60s. This is a totally different fucking animal, man. I feel sorry for young people. I really do. Because this is a tough world to be in. So much information flying, and our brains haven't evolved in a million years or whatever. But there's so much information that's coming into our brains every second. I mean, these kids must be losing their minds.
And all the pressure that they get from social media that we never had.
No.
We just had school pressure. They've got global pressure. But of course, we didn't have to ride helmets with bikes either. So
a lot of kids with helmets lately too, just walking around.
That's why I feel.
Yeah. I saw a kid with a helmet the other day. I'm like, why does that kid got a fucking helmet?
I hope you didn't point and ask out loud.
No, but sometimes I find myself speaking aloud when I'm thinking. As I'm getting older.
Oh my God.
Like I drove into this, you know where I live, and I drove into this area. I'm like, God, this area is getting so old. It's just people with fucking hurricanes everywhere. And my window was open. I said that out loud. And this poor old lady looked at me. I was like, all right, something's happening to me.
You mean hurricanes?
Hurricanes. They're called Hurry, Hurry cane. It's a brand of cane that's advertised on television.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Lamborghini Huracan.
No,
Never mind.
This is an old lady with a cane that it's kind of like a telescopic cane.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Okay, got it. I know. Yeah, I've seen those.
So I finally get out. I run some errands, and I'm just I'm like in geriatric Bill. Anyway, I am a geriatric underwear model, though. You know about that. Let's see. TheBaldTruth.com for archives of this broadcast. Guys who are interested in the UK show, I know that one of our guys in the chat asked if we put it on YouTube. No, you can check out the UK show at apetojgentleman.com. That's apetojgentleman.com. Click on hair, and you will see the archives of the UK show. We worked out
and congratulations to you and Specs getting that going.
Essentially, it's a licensing agreement to air the broadcast on Ape the Gentleman, so that's where you're going to have to watch it. Some good content. The American Hair Loss Association, AmericanHairLoss.org, and BaldTruthTalk.com is our message forum. You can check it out if you want, BaldTruthTalk.com. Until next time. Did I get them all? I think so. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you guys so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the